tune-up stages?
It's all operational. But I'm modifying a rig here, John. So I was just trying out a different process to make sure that like the output range is in the right. Like I had enough out drive level and all of that stuff to make the transmitter happy. So everything seems okay.
W3 MMR, I'm back.
And you're back, Perry.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me get this going. All right, there we go. Anyway, had to go assist with the dryer, but the dryer is now drying.
Toolbox all cleaned up to put that upper cabinet on next?
Yep. Yeah, the hutch, the work center will be here on Tuesday. Between 10 and 2. Getting a big hutch and work center for my Snap-on toolbox at work. And I've been waiting 8 months patiently for this, and a work top for it. It's Rhino. It's got a bed line. It's stainless steel with a bed liner coating. And it's got 8 outlets, 4 on either side on each corner. It's 73 inches wide by 24 inches deep, and it's got 2 USB ports in each one of the outlets. So I've been waiting 8 months patiently, and the day is almost here.
Familiar with them. Yep, I got a 10-draw top. I didn't go with the hutch, so that's what I have. That's what I have. I still have the thing. It's sitting over at my friend's and his. I have no place to keep it, so I got the 11-draw bottom and a 10-draw top. It's what, 68 inches long and 24 inches deep or whatever they are. Yep. So you're just gonna have cabinet space, storage space for all the plastic boxes. That's what you got nowadays.
Hey Perry, WA3DSP.
Yeah, hey Doug. Man, good evening. Good to hear you. And quickly, John. Yeah, I figured if anybody was familiar with him, it'd be you. The cabinets. Mine's a special edition box. It's a Midnight Runner edition, that color combo, the deep blue with the red brush trim, and they do make a side cabinet for it and a small side set of drawers. So eventually I'll go for the cabinet, which would be really, really nice to have. Over to you, Doug. Good evening. W3DSP, W3MMR.
Yeah, W3MMR, WA3DSP. Good evening. Haven't talked to you in ages. I had some health issues, but I also haven't talked to your dad in a long time. I was kind of looking for him. He used to get on All-Star pretty often, but I haven't heard him on in ages. So maybe give him a little push and tell him I'm looking for him. But this is a new rig for me. I just got it last week, a TS890, and I'm running SP220 amplifier, about 100 watts, with about 10 watts of drive out of the transceiver. So I think I have things set up pretty well on it. Does the audio sound okay?
Yeah, very respectable. Sounds pretty good, man. Good to hear you. Yeah, my dad said you had a few things going on there. I'm glad to hear you. I hope you're well, or better. And good to hear you. I know he's been on All-Star. I don't know if he's been on the Philly hub or the Georgia hub or what. I've been, if I remember to connect my note's on at the house. I just got to remember to connect it at times. But but the 100 watts, the SP220 and the TS890 sounds real good, man. Well, there's a lot of other folks in here. I'll pass it around. Maybe other guys can give you a signal report. But I will definitely let my dad know that you were looking for him. I'm sure he'd be happy to know that. So throw it up in the air. W3MMR.
W2PHL. John, I'm back on, just so you were asking about the Max. Now I'm on the Max processor. I don't know if you can hear the difference or not. But anyway, and yeah, Doug, I gave you the report before. Still the same. Sound good. W2PHL.
There was a double under you, Phil. Who was that?
Sound good over here, Perry, the guy. KD2AFL.
Darryl, what's the deal? Why are you using that radio on AM and not your big Gates transmitter?
It heats up the place too quick for me. It ran me out of the room. Waiting for about another 2 or 3 more weeks.
I'm gonna say open the window and put an exhaust fan on it.
Yeah, I thought about it. Just ain't got time to do it.
Yeah, what you changed rigs. What rig you on now? The ART-13?
Oh, yeah, you got good ears.
Yeah, that one's a little more, a little easier to listen to than the 7610. But case in point, you can hear the difference between the TS-890 and the 7610, right, George?
Oh my God, it's like night and day. And I had no idea. Because I was looking at the 890, but it was too big, and I would have had to rearrange a whole shelf here. And I figured out, $3,000 radio, it's got to sound respectable on AM. Wrong. And I think that's a sad commentary if an ART-13 sounds better. Oh my God.
This is N2CBH. Sorry, guys, I had a phone call there, and I think I'm going to back out on this one. So, sorry, I haven't been listening, but good to talk to you all tonight. I'm going to sign clear.
Bob, I thought we lost you with our antics. I thought you said, oh my God, these guys are awful, and turned off the radio. So your signal dropped down a little bit. I don't know if you did anything over there. I didn't quite catch the end of that. Were you saying goodbye? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop out. I got in the middle of a phone call and turned the volume down. I quite frankly forgot here. I listened a little bit to see who was still left, and wanted to make sure I heard a familiar voice, because if it was a bunch of strangers, they would have said, well, who are you? So anyway, George, good to hear you on. Hear everybody on. Everybody's got some signals up here. So let me say 7-3 on this one. I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, okay, Bob. Very good. Well, nice to hear you over here, and maybe we'll catch you on a repeater over here, or see you at the gas station or something. Who knows? But don't be a stranger here. Good to hear you. 7-3 and 2LJO.
Yeah, Bob. Good hearing you tonight. Good to work you again. And hope I hear you a little more often. Good signal down this way. W3 MMR.
I thought we lost him.
Perry, I was looking at your webpage and curious, what is the big copper coils and the vacuum capacitor? What's that a picture of? Is that a tuner?
Yeah, that's my antenna tuner, my balanced L matching network that I homebrewed 3 years ago, I guess now. I use it with this 600 ohm open wire, 125 foot doublet. That's up about, inverted V, it's up about 90 feet now at the new QTH here in Springfield. But yeah, it works really, really good. It's super low loss. I can tune it from 10 meters all the way to 160 with this antenna, including 11 meters, and the thing, I couldn't be happier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's a real art, a piece of art, I'll tell you. You did a nice job on that. And so that was a lot of copper.
Yeah, I forget how much it was, to be honest. I got it at Lowe's. I bought a couple rolls of that stuff. It's super easy to bend. So it was definitely a lot cheaper than buying a matching pair of QRO roller inductors that can go for upwards of, $150 each for a used old Johnson one. And to find a matching pair is even harder, so I ended up just winding my own. The only thing is it's big. It's really, really big. And that website, if you're on my website, w3mmr.com, that's not updated. It's got all the pictures from the old house. My QRZ page has pictures of the new QTH.
Yeah, how did you bend the copper? What did you use to do that?
What did you say to use to form the copper?
No, bend it. How did you make it into a coil like that?
I used PVC. I guess it was. I'm trying to think. I guess it was 2 inches, 2-inch PVC, 2 1/4, something like that. And I drilled 2 holes on one end and zip tied the pipe to it, the copper tubing, and rolled it out so the piece was nice and straight. And then I just sat on top of it and rolled it up extremely tightly, just real tight, and until I guess it was about 18 microhenries. And Dixon, can you hold on a second, bud? It's about 18 microhenries, and then I let it sit overnight. I drilled 2 more holes and zip tied it nice and tight and let it sit overnight, and then I ended up taking Lexan and drilling all the holes in the Lexan. I think it was a 1/4 inch apart each hole, and had to wind the copper tubing through that, through the Lexan after I had rolled it. So it was tedious.
Yeah, I can see that, especially getting that Lexan on there. But you did a great job. It really looks great. Okay, very good. I'm not going to stick around. I've got other things to do, but I'll look for your dad, maybe on All Star or maybe on AM. Does he get on? Still get on about 5:30, 5 o'clock on 3705 or so, or where does he hang out?
He's been up here, 3873 up to or 3885 usually, between 4:30 to 5:30 I think, around that time, up in this area. And I talked to him on the 9.4 machine on the way home. But we've also been talking direct on All Star on the way home. I've been using hitting his long range node from all the way out in Westchester. So sometimes he's on there around drive time. So I'll tell him to hook up to the Philly hub next time I'm on my way home from work, and we'll see if you're around for sure. But yeah, he can find him on AM up here.
Okay, great. Good that I hooked up with you, and have a good evening, and 7-3, WA3 DSP.
All right, Doug, good to hear you. W3MMR, sorry guys, I'll shut up.
Let's start the timer.
Oh, you be nice.
Don't tell me how to run my life. Well, since I keyed up. Good evening, everyone. N1 BCG.
Well, what's so good about it?
Listen to me. Go along with the plan, okay? Things are going to be different between us, capiche?
Everybody's saying good evening. What's so good about it?
Hey, anybody heard from Gordon lately?
No, isn't he usually on late?
I emailed him just to say, he usually gets on in the morning also, with the morning crew. I haven't heard him there. I haven't heard him after dinner here. Sometimes he'd get on like 9 o'clock when all you guys are gone. Haven't heard him, period. I emailed him, hey, check it in. Hope everything's good. How you doing? Still haven't heard him.
W2PHL. John, are you still there? I have a random question for you.
Still here. What's up, Bill? KC2FX.
W2PHL. John, do you know any difference between the Muncie 4-speed and the Saginaw 4-speed? Just curious.
The difference is the Saginaw is a cast iron case and the Muncie is aluminum.
Are the Saginaws as big of a dog as people say they are? Because like the Muncies, like the M21s and even the M22s, they're super big bucks. But I could get a Saginaw for a lot cheaper. But I heard that they're kind of anemic.
I always ran a Muncie myself when I had back in the day when I had the Chevelle. I ran a 21 and a 22. Depending on wide ratio and a close ratio. But the Saginaws are an iron. They look just like the 3-speed, just with another shift fork on it. And they're kind of weak. They wouldn't handle the higher torque. So you really didn't see them other than behind a 6-cylinder, maybe. They always put them in low torque applications. I think even the main shafts are light. You could twist them. You get something with 400 or 500 foot-pounds of torque, it could tear them up pretty bad. So if you're looking at one, you're probably going to get it cheap, but if you're going to put it in your Camaro, you're going to probably have to stay out of the foot. Keep your foot out of the throttle unless you break it.
Well, listen, I'm glad I asked you that, because now that's it. Because I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I'm going to stay away. Because I heard that the 3-speeds are actually, that's what I have now, 3-speed Saginaw. They're actually a more stout than the 4-speed. So, all right. Well, thanks for the info.
They've become quite pricey anymore, so it's hard to get anything reasonably cheap anymore. Everything's pricey.
The run, it's always a pleasure. Sean, Terry, Clark, Phil. Bob is gone already. I'm not sure if Doug's still in here, but anyway, we're going out to dinner. Maybe we'll catch you guys later if anybody's around. You hear me calling CQ, answer. 73N2LJO.
Enjoy the evening, and hope to catch you a little later. Don't run too fast now. We don't want you to trip.
Yeah, see ya. See ya, George.
Don't be carrying scissors.
Bon appetito.
Yeah, Perry, I forgot you, I think, by name, but not, in actuality. 73N2LJO.
No, you remember me. You did. Thanks, buddy. We'll catch you later. My dad had a M22 in his 70 SS, the Chevelle, when he had it, and that's always everything I've always been told. If you want reliability under power, you spend the extra money to get a Muncie.
Yeah, because then though, when you look at what it costs for the Muncie, there's like these modern transmissions that are out there now too, for not that much more money, and they have overdrive and everything. And they're like, and they're like bolt-in replacements too. They make them for these muscle cars. So I'm like, go with the old school, noisy, greasy M22 or something more modern. So, or just leave it as it is because it works fine, the 3-speed. But yeah, it's a never-ending project, this phone.
What is it again? I don't know if I know.
The car is a '69 Camaro convertible.
What motor's in it?
350.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it all just depends on what you want to do with it, The modern transmissions are nice. They're new. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about the new, project car transmissions. Just, what's in, light duty cars and trucks, in production vehicles. But, cool stuff, man. Have you had it a while?
Yeah, I bought it in '85, and I took it all apart and put it all back together. Back when I was a young lad.
Oh, I never knew that. Cool, man.
GKX for it.
That's the one. I couldn't remember it. The TKX is the one that everyone recommends. If you want to like leave the the world of authentic parts, and you want to get like an aftermarket transmission.
Whatever you can put at it. It's a nice 6-speed, so you got an overdrive up the top end.
That's the thing. It's like, what am I gaining with a 4-speed over the 3-speed? Because the 4-speed's still 1-to-1 in the 4th gear, so I'm just gaining an extra in-between gear, which I don't really need. It might make the shifting a little easier between gears, but not so much. Not for just tooling around. But then now, if you get the overdrive, now you got a little something going on there, because you bring the revs down, and when you're on the highway, you get a little more fuel efficiency. That would be cool.
It would be a lot more pleasurable to drive too. To take longer distances, and I don't know how loud the car is either. So, man, you have a 4-speed, you're cruising down the highway at 70, 75 miles an hour. That thing's gonna be screaming.
Yep, it's a little loud, not too much.
Yeah, you can really get that droning going,
Yup, I know. It's a little, the rear end's a little loud too. I noticed that today because I had the top up this morning, a little chilly. So I had the top up and the windows closed, and I'm hearing a little whirring coming from the back. I'm like, oh boy, here's another project. Change out the rear bearings.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Gotta love it.
I did my own wheel alignment on it though, and because a few times I brought it in, twice I brought it into places, and they're like, "Oh, your car's, we can't align it." Nobody knows how to work with shims and old cars. So I built my own jig with the Harbor Freight laser carpenter square, and took my time, and I got it dialed in perfect. That was it was frustrating, but now looking back, man, I'm so happy I took the time to do that, because the car was never right. It never really tracked correctly. Now I finally got that right, so it's so much fun to drive.
Pick up a set of old used magnetic heads for the other work.
I'm sorry, John. What? Magnetic what?
With the bubbles in them, so you can do your camber caster and use a laser beam to line up the front and rear and toe.
I bought it's digital, the one that I got, and it comes with 2 plates, and that's mostly for the camber. The caster I didn't worry too much about, because there's only so much caster you can get with a stock front end, so it's maxed out, and it's still probably not enough, but I put in a quick release steering box, and changed all the parts on the front end, and I put in a heavier duty anti-sway bar, and then once I got the car squared, then I did the toe in, and that was pretty straightforward. So yeah, you can, you know what it is, it's like until you actually do it, it sounds like, oh my god, how am I going to pull this off? As long as you have a flat garage, that it's not very wavy and is level, you can get it done.
Oh yeah, you can. Yep, I've done a lot of that stuff. Even done stuff at the racetrack. We do stuff at the race car at the racetrack too, with a string and a ruler for quick stuff. But it'd be nice to have a shop with a nice flat floor, and you can put a couple flat tables down and get things straightened out. Yep, very good.
W2PHL. Yeah, and then the other thing is, if it's your car, right, and it's not in a shop where they want to, bring it in and then leave, pay the guy and then you're gone. you do a little adjustment and then you take it for a drive and then you come back and you're like, oh, now I know what I got to do, and then you make your adjustment and then you go back for another drive until you get it all, straightened out.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I'm going to go to Little Boys Run. I'll be back shortly. KC2FXE, Catskill.
W3MMR. Alright, guys, I'm going to back out of here. I'm going to go hang out with my boy. See what's on TV. And, good signals tonight, man. You guys have been kicking ass and taking names. Good group in here. We'll catch you guys later on. W3MMR.
Have a fine business evening.
All right, Perry. Catch you later. Yeah, man. So, Clark, I'm back on the Max. I know this sounds better, right?
I'm so confused, but the fact that the Max sounds like Inovonics, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, I imagine over the air it's harder to tell, but I can tell in my headphones. But Max is more mellow. I like that.
You can toughen it up a bit.
No, I know, but then I get a lot of blower noise and all that stuff. So I'm better off practicing proper mic control and staying in a close proximity.
Quick comment.
Go ahead.
The thing is about the Max, I think that the mellowness is sort of deceiving, because when you're talking, it's pretty aggressive. It only sort of seems mellow because it stops changing gain when you pause. But if you turn off the dynamic processing, it gets all aggressive again.
I just want to let you know, Phil, I'm recording this. Been recording. So, I'll send it to you.
Okay. Thanks, Perry. Yeah. No, Clark, that's kind of what I mean. The Inovonics doesn't have that. I think your box is the only box that has that feature. I don't know if I'm right on that, but it's the only box I have that does that. That keeps everything quiet, and it's not a gate. It's not a downward expander. So that's what's cool about it. So like when I key up, I don't hear in my headphones.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the processors, when you stop talking, they go to maximum gain because the audio is at its lowest. And then when you key up, they're set there like room noise is 100% modulation. It's like unnecessary. So I like the idea, the fact that it only changes gain when you talk. Well, obviously, I guess.
Yeah, obviously. But cool. Yeah, is there another box that does that or similar?
Yeah, it was inspired by the Shure SE30, which you also own, or at least I think you said you did. It has a gated memory on it. I think that's what they call it. And I remember, I first discovered this thing in college, and I was fascinated by it. It's like, wow, look at that. When you turn the gated memory function on, the gain only changes when there's audio. So like if you go, hey, and you look at the gain reduction meter, and it will just like freeze in place. It's like sort of like musical chairs. And then you bring the audio up, talk a little louder, a little louder, a little louder, and then you finally reach the point where you get to the threshold, and then the gain reduction meter starts moving again. And I always thought that, it's like, that is just brilliant. So, yes, that's where the idea came from.
I'll be a 2PHL. Well, I think my SE30, we did talk about this. I don't know if my SE30 ever did that. It probably, when I picked it up, it was probably already in need of recapping. And then I used it for a while, and then it started getting really bad hum, and I was like, all right. And then I had moved on to something else. But I would imagine a feature like that is only really useful for for voice. So that's probably why it's not in the mainstream anymore, because people are trying to sell, a box that's good for everything, for music as well as voice. So I would imagine you'd want to stay away from this type of gain control if you were using it for music.
Yeah, if you run music through the Max, then it doesn't really do much, but it would if you had control over the threshold. I mean, the Max is designed for voice. By the way, sorry folks, I'm going to keep this short. Either there's audio or there isn't. Either you're talking or you're not. In the case of music, you've got, loud passages and soft passages, and if you're going to do stuff like that, believe it or not, there is going to be a broadcast version of the Max. Oh my God, spoiler alert, yes, it'll have a 3-band processor in it. Oh my gosh. And the dynamic processing threshold will be able to be set, whereas now it's not. Because with voice, you don't need to. I mean, it's kind of like digital. You're either talking or you're not. But if you have music, yeah, you definitely have to have control over, the point at which when the level drops below that point, then it goes into unity gain.
That's cool. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm hearing with the Innovonics. Now, I don't know if you can hear the background come up. About 10% modulation of the fan and stuff like that. So, yeah, I just shut off the dynamic processor, and then now it's back on, and it just magically disappears. I swear I could do this all day long. It's like magic.
When we first put that in, it was really kind of wacky. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. I know that sounds self-serving, but it's like, this really solves this background noise thing. Like when people stop talking, their processing just goes like into, total gain increase, and it's like, all right, that's great. Now we all get to hear your neighbors talking and, the amplifier fans in the background. And honestly, it actually does make it harder to understand folks. Like if you're big into DXing and stuff like that, anything that reduces signal to noise is not helpful. And I thought, why would you do that? I mean, you definitely want to keep your voice good and loud and everything, but all that compression stuff should only really be operating when there actually is something there to compress. Why should it act on background noise also? So that was the, and yeah, of course, because I thought Shure was brilliant in doing that gated memory thing, but then, for the Max, it's like, yeah, this needs to have a resurgence in modern gear, and wasn't BCG.
It's very quiet out there. Well, yeah, and this is the 7300. I've been using it all afternoon. I built it into the mod into a little module. It's a small piece of a PC board, and it's I'm on my third revision on this thing. So I keep changing stuff a little bit, but I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I don't hear the distortion, and it's kind of funny. But from what was going on up the band earlier, I was sitting here thinking, I'm worried about like 5% distortion. And there's like 50% distortion going on up the band. That's no excuse, obviously, for, kind of want to make this thing as good as possible. But you don't really hear it with voice. It's like, it's around 5% THD. You can hear it with music. You can hear it a little bit with music, but with voice you can't really hear it. So I think it's good to go in that regard.
Well, Control A, fine business all around.
Control-A. Man, that's old school. Okay. I've got to get going soon.
And by the way, wireless. I know I keep saying I'm not going to talk about it. This is the last thing I'm going to say about the Max. Wireless Girl reviewed it. She made a update to her website. She has actually very nice things to say. Janice, AB2RA, yes. And it turns out she ended up building a Max for a friend of hers who had has a K7DYY transmitter, and you know those can be persnickety. And apparently, this is actually remarkable. The transmitter kept kicking off, because of modulation peaks, and she built this Max processor. I think it was a 470, not even one of the newer ones. And he's using it now, and all the K7DYY drop-offs went away. So, very happy about that.
Well, it makes total sense because the K7DYY, that's what happens. There's a baseline hit at above, I think it's 250 watts or something like that. It'll just kick right out. So that's important. And that's the other thing about this 7300 mod is that you really do need a broadcast style processor on this stupid thing for audio bandwidth and for peak limiting. So that's the other thing that concerns me a little bit. But anyway, not that I should even care about these things, but I do. And something else I wanted to mention, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, Max on Slot Bucket seems to be beneficial too. You can get rid of all that crappy compression that's built into the radio, and if you can, it depends on the radio, I guess, and just use the the Max audio into the rig, and it sounds a lot better.
I keep saying I'm not going to further the discussion, but actually you bring up something important. I tried that last year. I connected the Max up. This is the 495 to my ICOM because I had to be on all day for the Transatlantic Test anniversary. And the one thing I noticed about it is, that whole thing about the ALC. You hit the ALC and it does all kind of nasty stuff with your carrier. There's no carrier or sideband. Well, anyway, it limits that. You can avoid all that stuff. It turns out that the stupid ALCs, and there's a lot of stuff I don't understand as far as why, Kenwood, Yaesu, ICOM, all these guys have got this just messy as hell, basically power limit controller in there. It responds to peaks, but it punches you very badly. So, for example, if it's I get it. It's there to protect the power amplifier. Okay, fine. But if you have a voice peak, even just for a millisecond or some number of milliseconds, it overreacts and it overdrops your output power. So. What I did notice is that, and this kind of makes sense, of course, is all right, well, let's say you get rid of all those peaks. You create more of a homogeneous audio modulation envelope where there's a lot more of it, but nothing ever gets past a certain point. You can actually turn the output up to the point where the ALC just starts to do something and then back it off, just a scooch or swoosh, whatever the expression is, and that's it. And I looked at a watt meter. It's wow, I'm getting regularly maximum power out of this rig, and the ALC is never deflecting. And then I bypassed all that and put the regular mic back on it, and it's went right back down to it was like a third less output power on peaks without having some kind of processing on it. I think that. I think more people should be aware of, you might not need to do that 9-volt battery trick. You can bypass all that. N1 BCG.
Yeah. dependent on the
W4
but
PBS.
I've got the ALC completely neutered on the 7300, and I was worried because the peaks were going up to over 130 watts. With the ALC disabled. No external 9-volt battery nonsense. Doing it inside the radio. And then I went into the service manual and I was able to dial the maximum power down. And somehow the way they have it is the radio will want to, on side, we'll just say for side, the radio will want to modulate up to 130 watts, but the ALC kicks in before that and keeps it below whatever it's set for. In this case, it's set for 100 watts, So, and then disabling the ALC, now there's no more of that limiting at 100 watts. It goes right up to whatever, the 130. So, I just go into the service manual, and where the setting for maximum power, dial that down. I dialed it down to like 95 or 90 watts, something like that. And now on sideband, it stays below the 100 watts, which I was super happy about, because you don't want somebody to blow out their radio if they're not paying attention to what they're doing. So that's a good thing in that regard. And then with the ALC completely off in sideband, you don't have that clipping sound that you get when you get close to maximum power. And then running the max into it and using the output of the max to control the output of the transmitter, it sounds super smooth, Too bad I don't like using sideband.
Hey, Jason, I heard you. I'm going to turn it over to you. Phil, you have actually brought up something I've been wondering about for a long time. I officially don't get it. Why? And they all do this. This ALC stuff seems moronic. So, for example, on every single sideband rig I've ever used, when you change your output power, you have to change your miking. I don't get it. It's like, why can't they make this way simpler and they just have, the microphone audio goes into the processor goes into or the processor includes peak limiting, so you don't have those spikes. And then the radio is always set to maximum power, but you control the output power instead of with some weird ass, ALC associated output power control. It literally is just the audio level going into the balance modulator, because face it, that's how you control sideband, and I tried this just to say, like, all right, obviously
well, he's not going to get down south. I'll catch you guys all later. KC2FXE. I'm going to go eat some din din, and I'll be back whenever.
100 watts.
Okay, John, 7.3.
200 watts, and then I back down the audio level from the external processor, with compression and peak limiting everything, and it brought it down. I'm like, oh wow, now I'm only peaking at 50 watts, PEP output, half of what the rig can do. And I continue to bring it down. Now it's like, look at that, I'm running QRP power. Now I'm down to 5 watts peak envelope power on sideband. But the compression and the audio processing and all that never changed, regardless of the output power. The only thing that was changed was the output level of the audio processor going into the balance modulator. And I had total control from QRP to maximum power on that rig, and no audio settings had to be changed for that entire range. But they don't do that. If anyone can explain to me why that is, that would be very ear-opening. Okay, and speaking of which, hello, Jason.
Hello, Clark, and everybody else. I'm running a 7300 nowadays, but it suffers from that same type of stuff. I run AM. Went into my settings and I opened it up a little bit, and I hold the microphone about 12 inches from mouth and at a 90-degree angle, and that's where I've got it right now, and it's running into a single 3500Z, and it will peak about 400 watts, and if I get closer to the microphone, it goes down. It's like now that's 2 inches. Now I got 300 watts, but I've just figured out how to tweak it and how to make it work. But I've been listening to you guys talking about the ALC and everything, and on this one you just got to keep it in the blue zone, I guess I'd say. But let me back it off a little bit more. I'm curious now of hearing you talk about it, but yeah, I think about right there is the sweet spot. I don't know, but somebody was commenting the other night on how good it sounded and about what type of mic I was using, and I'm still using the stock mic that came with the rig, just 90-degree angle away from my face and about 12 inches away, and it seems to work okay, I guess. Back to you fellas, W4 PBS.
Did you say Jason, over?
Roger, the name here is Jason. Jason Juliet Alpha Sierra Oscar November. The call is W4 PBS. We're here in Central Virginia. Go ahead.
Okay, Jason, real good. All right. No, it sounds all right, for sure. Yeah, that's what the 7300 does on the voice peaks. The carrier dips, but it doesn't really distort. They have that part figured out. It's almost like Clark, you probably know, in broadcasting, they've done that with the save power on the AM transmitters. I don't know, is there a name for that?
What, you mean the power reduction, so that instead of increasing the modulator, they decrease the carrier?
Yeah, right. In other words, like when you approach 100% modulation, your carrier actually dips.
Well, yeah. I'll give you an example. So there are some new transmitters being certified out there that, let's say you're a 50,000 watt station. When you have no audio, the transmitter is actually putting out a 10,000 watt carrier, and so the carrier level only goes up to match the modulation. I guess that's kind of the opposite of what you were saying. In that case, the carrier starts at 50 kilowatts and then drops down to save power. But the idea is why put out the whole full licensed power when you have dead air? It's unnecessary. And one BCG.
W2PHL. I would imagine that would cause all kinds of AGC problems, though. I thought there was a mode or something, where you call it, that what I described was a thing where the carrier went down by a certain percentage at peak modulation. But anyway, I gotta run out. It's time for us to get going, but I'm working on mods for the IC 7300, Jason, but it's still very much a work in progress. But maybe there's hope for the 7300 yet. But yours is sounding pretty good, I gotta say.
Roger that. I've got boat anchors over here, but I work my job and the responsibilities these days. I just want to flip on the amplifier and flip on the transceiver and enjoy AM. It does that for me. I've heard several on the air, and I thought they were good enough anyhow. So I'll just stick with this for a while and work on the other stuff as time permits. But yeah, I went into the what do you call it, the service menu on this thing, and I don't remember what I did. And I didn't do a lot, but I did a couple things to make it the best it can be stock, I guess. But anyhow, if you figure out those mods, I'd sure be in there for trying them. The bandwidth could be better, but anyway, back to you, W4PBS.
All right. Well, you're listening to an ICOM 7300 right now. So, but there's still a couple of pitfalls I'm trying to figure out. I'd hate to like post up a mod and then find out later, oh, you forgot about this or that. But so you know, I'm working on it. But this is a 7300. So just so you want, just I'll do a quick demo. This is the stock modulator. This is you know, the ICOM modulator, and this is the bandwidth that you're stuck with. And then this is the mod that I'm working on with for the 7300. So. And it's so far it's working pretty well, but like I said, there's a couple of things I got to look at yet in terms of limiting that, make sure the output power doesn't go too high. And I've got an issue also with the spiking on transmit, where you get a full power spike. So those are the things I got to look at yet, but I don't know. I think the thing is there's a lot of small components also inside the radio that you got to be good at using a soldering iron on very small surface mount type stuff too. So, but yeah, so far I've been pretty pleased with the way it's been going, Jason. W2PHO.
Okay, roger that. Yeah. It definitely was a huge difference when you kicked in the mod, but yeah, you're right about the surface mount teeny stuff inside of these things. It's mine, you know, opened up the frequencies on it, and my God, the little diode, I think it was this one, or it might have been the other radio, but that little diode could fit under my pinky fingernail. It was ridiculous. And I'm not that old, but I need reading glasses to see small stuff. So, but I have seen these 7300s with the AC mod modification. I forget what the company is. I think the company is AC mod, but I don't want to do that to the radio, maybe an outboard model, but I've heard a few of those with the AC mod on them, but I don't know. It's getting it done for me, and everybody can hear me, so that's fine, and it sounds decent. So, but if there's anything that's not too labor intensive, and I don't have to tear the whole damned radio apart to do it, I'd be game for that. So. But I mean, what you're working on sounds really great. I had no idea you were on a 7300 until you told me. W4PBS.
Yeah. All right. I really gotta leave now. All right, Jason. Yeah. No, I mean, you sound like, you know, if you said, "Oh, I'm on a Ranger with like a D104," I'd be like, "Yep, that's what they sound like." So that's a classic AM sound you got going there. So. But so 73, Jason, and nice pleasure. I don't know if we worked before. I think we did. I don't keep a log, which is terrible, but nice hearing you this evening. And Clark, I don't know who else is. John might. He said he went to dinner while you were transmitting, Clark. Not that he squashed you like a bug, but I heard him pretty clearly. So have a good evening.
Squash Clark like a bug?
Yes, I've got guts and entrails all over the floor. Someone get a dustpan.
Shame on the mess. Hello, Jason. KD2 AFL is standing by.
Yeah, Roger. I think it was KE2 AFL, W4 PBS, Jason here in Central Virginia. Go ahead.
Okay, Jason, sounding good from Virginia. Microphone. Yeah, that's where my mother from, but she's from Richmond, Virginia, and got cousins in Doswell, Richmond, Churchill, or whatever they Churchill. Boy, they done changed up around there so much. I got lost. All right, then. Sounded good up here. I'm in New Jersey. Kilo, Delta 2 Alpha Foxtrot Lima. I'll be standing by.
There he is. Jason, your 7300 sounds real good, so I don't have one. I don't know what your settings are, but you know what? Keep it like the secret sauce. You know, like keep it like the Coca-Cola recipe. Like, what is it? Doesn't matter. It sounds great. And by the way, you can never really go wrong with, and I can't believe I'm saying this about an ICOM, because I've got 3 of them and they all sound hideous, but for some reason, somebody at ICOM either fell, hit their head on the ground or whatever, and then got involved in the 7300 project and actually made it sound pretty good on AM. And then ICOM got wise to that, and they came out, I guess, with the 7610, and they went back to the sounding nasty again. So, yeah, the 7300 is this, it's like the exception to the ICOM rule. And by the way, also, being involved in the AM Rally operating event, from what I understand from Steve, who keeps track of this from a logging standpoint, the 7300 has been the #1 most used rig on AM for the AM Rally operating event for, I think, the past 3 years. So, you know, there's nobody out there saying, wow, this rig sucks. And I haven't actually looked it up on eHam. You know, they've got the reviews, which are really handy. I'm just guessing it's probably got like a 4.5 or 5 stars or something like that. Because, I mean, just like everybody has one. But yours sounds good, so I wouldn't even worry about it. And one BCG.
Roger that, Clark. I appreciate that. This is our little rig that we use when we get home from work, and we've had enough BS for the day. You know, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to work at a company, and the crybabies and the entitled, and you know, I won't get into all of that, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just so ridiculous. I don't know how much more of it I can take. I'm probably gonna say something one day that's gonna get me fired. You know, my foot hurts, or you know, something hurts, or something, you know, something's bothering me, and you know, oh my God, and it's not the way I came up through the ranks, but anyway, oh well. It's just the crybabies. I just can't believe it. I'm hearing them here on HF sometimes also, but oh my God, I can't take too much of that. But anyway, yeah, thanks for the telling me the 7300 sounds decent, but yeah, the last AM rally is the one that made me pick this thing up. I heard a bunch of people on them, and I knew they probably didn't really know how to tweak it, and even though they didn't, they still sounded good, so I picked one up. But I just hate spending a ton of money on a new radio, but this is the best $1,000 I ever spent, I'll tell you what, and they sound great on sideband as well, and I've got a little, I guess everybody sounds a little bit better than they should, but I picked up this little, one of the iHome speakers for, I think it was originally for, what do you call that thing you used to plug in the little, I forget it. the little things you could put your recordings on and plug in something or another. But it was designed for that. But it works great for making a AM or sideband signal. Add a little bass and treble to it. It works great for that. But it's the Arhound brand, and it's really a great external speaker. But anyway, back to you fellas. W4PBS.
Yeah, I imagine that having a 7300 is a lot better and more peace of mind than, turning on something like a Valiant and then worrying each time you flip the plate switch on whether there's going to be a giant snap and a plume. I no mean to laugh, but I've seen this. You turn the high voltage on and something arcs over, and next thing you know, you just blew the power transformer, you blew the mod transformer, and those things are hard to find, cost the world, and will take days, in order to rewire it in. And then you don't know whether the problem that caused that, explosion still exists or not. It's very stressful, compared to having like a modern rig, which is like, all right, this has been researched, it works, there's no high voltage in it, and, it'll probably be very reliable for years to come. Yeah, there's a comfort level to that. So, good deal. Hey, by the way, and topic number 2, and then I'm done. Yes, the corporate workplace. This has been an issue. The crybabies, the folks who need like the comfort room, or no, the safe space. That's right, the safe space and the comfort bears. I'm serious. Teddy bears and stuff. To cope with stress in the workplace. Well, rewind the clock to 2008, is it? Yeah, see, I'm that old. Anyway, I remember one of our managers at the radio station where I worked, he was pretty much in charge of the programming for our oldies FM station. And he was having, as we all do, our annual, what was it called? IFM. IFM? What the hell is that? Anyway, it's like a performance review. Now, I can't remember what IFM stands for. But anyway, so you go into the market manager or collective boss, and, you basically get your performance over the past year reviewed. Well, anyway, so this guy, Eric, I'll just say that's his entire name, was in for his performance review. And I'm standing up front with the, receptionist, kind of like shooting the bull and stuff, drinking. That's what I usually did there. Okay, so occasionally I dabble in engineering, but mostly I just spent the whole day drinking coffee and then schmoozing with the receptionist. It was really hot. So that was my job. But anyway, so this guy walks in, and he asks the receptionist where Eric is. And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's not available right now. He's in a meeting." And he goes, "Well, I'm supposed to be in that meeting." And the receptionist and I look at each other and we're like, "Oh, that's weird." And she goes, Are you sure? And he goes, "Yeah, I'm his dad." Oh, you should have seen the look on her face. And she looks at me for like, I'm going to, come up with the answer as to what to do next. I didn't know. I'm like, what the? I was in a WTF moment right there. And she goes, "His dad?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm supposed to be in that meeting." So she didn't know what to do. So she's like, "All right, well, just walk down this hallway, make a right, go to the end, and it's the corner office." And he goes, "Okay." So he takes off, and she looks at me like, "Is this for real?" And I what was I going to say? I'm like, "I've never heard of this before. Your dad showing up for your performance review?" So I got kind of curious, and I sort of like walked down the corridor, and this is the big open sales area. We had all the cubicles there for the account executives, and I looked across the way to see where he was going. He goes over to the corner office, our market manager, the boss for all 4 radio stations. Does he not? No. He just reaches for the handle and walks right in. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I turned around and went back to the front desk. I'm like, and she goes, "What did he do?" I'm like, "He just walked right in." And we both agreed we would probably just die and quit our jobs if ever either of our parents showed up at our performance review with our boss. Like, oh, here's Dad to explain why his son is a great employee. I can't even say it with a straight face. And one BCG. And by the way, that was 2008. Trust me, I know it's gotten worse.
N1 BCG W4 PBS. Yes, yes, sir, it is. This guy that was hired, I'm kind of like a technical consultant for the whole plant, transformer plant where I work, and I'm more into electronics, automation, and things like that. But they hired this guy, and I also help the maintenance department out when they can't figure something out on their own. You know, I'm a technical consultant, resource, whatever you want to call it. But this guy, he just, you know, it doesn't matter how many times you tell him, he's a few years older than I am, and but he went to personnel on me because the maintenance supervisor told him to stay inside the plant with the one other guy that was going to stay inside the plant to take care of the plant, because we got construction going on outside, and he was told to stay inside, and 20 minutes after that, he was outside with one of the maintenance guys on the golf cart, and all I said was, you know, I didn't interrupt anybody, but his lead man that was on the golf cart with him, he was moving the golf cart out the way, and I said, well, why are you doing that? I said, take him back inside where he's supposed to be, and then you can come back outside. That's all I said. Didn't cuss, nothing. And yeah, he went to personnel on me and made a heck of a big deal out of that.
Wow. There you go. It's the new way of things. Well, how did the personnel folks handle it?
Well, that's kind of the worst part. I got called in there, you know, and everything, and it's weird now. It's really weird now, the way it works. But I got called in there, and it seemed like the personnel lady was trying to get me to believe she was on my side, trying to get me to talk about the guy or something. And I was like, nah, I said, I really don't have a big problem with the guy. I said, I don't know what his problem is with me, but I don't have a big problem with him, so I just I kept it in my pocket, if you know what I mean. But it's ridiculous. It's a whole big thing spawned off of that one.
It's amazing stories like this that you hear, and it just makes you go, that can't be, but it is.
It was I'm like the technical consultant, and then the maintenance supervisor, and the facilities manager. He wanted all three of us fired, and even said some things about his co-workers that weren't too nice. And it's like they're willing to get rid of everybody or screw with everybody because of this one guy. I mean, 80% of the whole department has been in there and complained about him, but just because he did it first, I don't know. I'm about done with this type of stuff.
Yeah, I don't have any ideas, because you're right. I mean, it's like if something makes sense, then you can use sense to combat sense, right? You know, like you can have a battle of, well, let's use sense to counteract sense and, you know, try to find out where we can both agree on something. But if the other party makes no sense, it's like they're not abiding by any rules and you are, and you can never win that way.
Yeah, exactly. There's the facilities manager and then the maintenance supervisor. And then I'm kind of, I don't know where I am in that hierarchy right there, but I'm kind of my own entity, I guess, technical consultant, but I'm salary and he's hourly, so he submits to me, and the maintenance supervisor told me where he was supposed to be, just to let you know. So I guess, you know, I mean, I don't know. And then the other day he was screwing up, and I was like, I ain't saying anything to him about anything, because they won't back me up, they won't discipline him, and I said, so screw it, I'm not saying a damn thing to him about anything. Said HR can handle it.
You know, it's sort of like that's where things are going. It's destroying people's pride in their job. You know, it's forcing people to not care. You know, back in the day, as you know, because you're like that, you know, you take sort of like a pride in your participation in the success of the business you're involved in. You know, and if you see somebody who is, you know, not contributing, then, you know, they get called out on it. But the current culture seems to be that, you know, nobody can be reprimanded for anything. Everyone kind of like does what they want. And if they screw around, you know, companies might feel that, well, we're too much of a liability if we reprimand them, then they can sue us, or, you know, create some kind of a grievance, and then we'll be in even more trouble, so we're not going to pursue it. And the only people they come down on are the people that they can trust who aren't going to lash out at the company, like yourself. You know? It's like, isn't that amazing? It's like the people who are most dedicated to the cause, the most dedicated to the success of the business, are the ones that they're the most comfortable with, you know, putting their thumb on, you know, putting the pressure on. And it's the wild cards that they're most scared of, you know, the people who have the least investment in it, because they don't know what's going to happen. You know, it's like the New World Order. So where is this all going? It's going towards creating a work environment where everybody just, you know, they show up for work in the morning and they're like, you know what? I am going to just do what I'm expected to do. I'm not going to do any more. I'm not going to do any less. And whatever everybody else does, that's on them. And if this business succeeds, great. If it doesn't, then I find something else to do. And it makes you compartmentalize your participation. Yeah, it's almost like, all right, here's the deal. I have a life and things that I enjoy doing, and it has absolutely nothing to do with my work. I only go to work to get money, and the money makes me enjoy what I really want to do in my life. So it's like, you know, when you go into work in the morning or whatever time your job starts, you play the national anthem and you salute the flag and say, at this time, my real life is signing off for the next X number of hours while I'm at work. Tune in again at the end of the workday when we recommence our enjoyment of our life. And you just go into, like, you know, catatonic mode, get the paycheck, and then it's time to go home. And that's where you say, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to a new day celebrating my own life. At this time, we go back to the real world and enjoy all the things that life has to provide. Thank you for your patience during that intermission while we were at work. And one BCG.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly how it is right there. But I mean, I'm a salaried employee, so I got a vested interest in the company and how it does, and I got ESOP in this company. And when I see people out on the floor or wherever that's screwing off, and I'm just not going to get into everything, but they're tearing up equipment. I mean, tearing up equipment, wrecking stuff. I mean, over and over and over and over, because I'm still affiliated with the maintenance department, just over and over and I mean, massive screw ups, and nothing's ever done. So I'm just like, screw it. If you say anything to anybody, you get dragged into HR, and I don't know. It really sucks, like you say. But I mean, I'm pretty much done with it. I guess I'll just go in there and do what they want. I mean, but I'd really like to see the company make money and do well. I mean, I can't do it by myself, and especially if somebody's beat me over the head every time I say something.
Yeah, Jason, I'm really sorry to hear that, because, people who care, like you, it's so hard for businesses to find that. It's just not, what the, what is it, the pool of people. It's not like the trend these days where the people are feeling that same camaraderie, about success. The whole thing where it's like, hey, if we all work together as a team, we all succeed together as a team, and the better the company does, the better we do. And there used to be a dynamic where it was just like that, where a company would be like, hey, we smashed our goals 4 quarters in a row, and as we promised, everybody gets bonuses since we did that, and we did that as a result of your extra effort. Those were the days, and I was fortunate back in the early 90s to work for a company that was like that, and they said that. They said if we as a company meet our targets for 4 quarters in a row, then we're going to give everybody a bonus, with some percentage of your salary. We're just going to give you that as a thank you for making it happen. And I can tell you that entire year, everybody went all out. And as I said, the company did meet all their targets, and to stay true to that, they weren't hiding anything. They weren't saying, oh, whoops, we missed one, too bad, no one gets anything. No, the company came right out and said, yep, we made our target, because they wanted to keep people enthusiastic. First quarter, like, yeah, we made our target. All right, we're 1 quarter of the way there. And then by June 30th, they're like, wow, we made another quarter target. We're halfway there. Keep it up. This is great. And by the time, New Year's rolled along, they're like, ladies and gentlemen, this is amazing. We're on track to have met our goal 4 quarters in a row. So, and I remember this, they ended up saying, because we know we will make our target, we know this ahead of time because we basically already have, we're going to give you your bonuses before Christmas. Man, I love that company. And one BCG, that kind of employee-company relationship needs to come back somehow.
Yes, sir, exactly. Well, it used to be that way in my company, but now not so much. I don't know. But anyhow, I'm supposed to talk on ham radio to have fun. But yeah, well, I guess that kind of went into the conversation you were having before and everything. I've got to hit the command center and fix myself another adult beverage, so and let this amplifier cool off a little bit. But anyway, Clark, good to hear you, and we'll be back in here in a few minutes. We got to go do some personal maintenance and a little drink maintenance and all of that good stuff. So hopefully you fellows will still be here on 3873 amplitudium modulation of W4 PBS. We'll be clear for a bit.